those brothers who have finished their salah can come close to the minbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wahdah wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dah. Amma ba'd. فقد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد وفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسول النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. My respected brothers, Alhamdulillah, today we heard Surah An-Nisa. Surah An-Nisa is a Madani surah, and in this surah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He starts off by the verse Ya ayyuhan nasu ttaqu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahidah. This is a verse which is usually recited during the khutbah of nikah. This is one of the verses which is recited during the khutbah of nikah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds everybody that, O people, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fear the Lord who has created you from one soul, from Adam alayhi salatu wassalam. So in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions many different things, important facts, the rights of the women. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about a person who is allowed to get married. A man can marry 4 ladies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions all these rules in Surah An-Nisa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about who you can get married to, who are the muharramat and who are allowed for you to get married to. The muharramat are mentioned here as well. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the rights of the neighbors. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the rights about a person, that in the early days it was allowed that if someone was drunk, then he could join the salah. So slowly, gradually, when alcohol became haram and it was totally forbidden, then they were not allowed to come to prayers when they were drunk. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions all these different points in this surah, in Surah An-Nisa. However, today I will mention one point regarding the verse أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُ يُدْرِككُمُ الْمَوْتُ وَلَوْ كُنْتُمْ فِي بُرُوجٍ مُشَيَّدَةٍ, which is verse number 78 of Surah An-Nisa. Verse number 78 of Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that أَيْنَمَا تَكُونُ يُدْرِككُمُ الْمَوْتُ, wherever you may be, death will catch you. يُدْرِككُمُ الْمَوْتُ, death will overcome you. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, he mentions an incident during the early ummah, the early community, that there was a lady, and he mentions that this lady was pregnant. After pregnancy, she gave birth to a baby girl. So the lady the mother that gave birth at the time of delivery, after the delivery, she told her servant that get some fire for me, get some water, get me some fire. So the servant was about to leave the house. As soon as he leaves the door, then suddenly he sees a person in front of him. A person appears and asks him that what did she give birth to, and what is it, a male, a female? So at that time, this servant replied that she gave birth to a girl, baby girl. So this person told the servant, bear in mind 2 things, that this baby girl, she will sleep with 100 men. And the second point means she will do zina with 100 men, she will sleep with 100 men. And second thing is that she will die from a spider. So this servant, when he heard this, he went back inside the house. The mother was not there, and he got a knife and slit the stomach of that baby. And he thought he killed the baby, and he ran away. And he went overseas. After a moment, the mother came and saw the baby in this state. The mother came and she stitched the baby's stomach, and somehow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave and he cured this baby girl. So after many years, now this baby girl, she was very beautiful. She was known as the jewel of the city. She was so beautiful. And the servant that went overseas, he was a servant in that area, in that place where he was, in that house. So he went overseas, he worked hard and he became a rich man. After many years, he returns back to his own city, the city that he belonged to. And now he is looking for a bride. He wants to get married. So he sees an old lady and he asks this old lady that, find me a bride. And I don't want to get married to any lady. I want the most beautiful lady in this place. Look for the most beautiful lady for me. So this old lady says, insist that I can't see anyone more beautiful than that girl that over there. Go and get married to her. I insist that you get married to that lady. She is very beautiful. So finally, this man, he got married to this lady. So after the marriage took place, one day the husband and wife, they are sitting together, and the wife asks her husband that, tell me about you. That tell me more information about you. Tell me who you are, and more in detail. So this man says, at one time I used to live in this city. So he starts telling her that in detail that I used to live in this city, this happened, and there was this baby girl, and he slit her stomach, and I ran away, I went overseas, I worked hard, I became rich, and I came back. So his wife shows the husband now this mark on her stomach that says, can you see this mark? I am that baby, I was that baby girl. I was that baby girl that you slit the stomach, the abdomen, and my mom stitched it back, and I survived. So when he heard this from his wife, now she was his wife now. So then he said, let me tell you two things. That you will be sleeping with 100 men. So his wife, his current wife replies that I don't know how many men. It's countless. I have slept with countless men. The man says, you have slept with 100. And another thing then he says, that you will die from a spider. Your death will be from a spider. So what this man now, because that she was his wife now, so he builds a very big, strong fortress, like a tower, a lofty building, strong building, and he makes it in such a way that the building is free from spiders. There is no spider web, nothing. And one day, the husband and wife, both of them are relaxing. They are lying down on the bed. And suddenly his wife sees a spider on the wall. And she jumps up from the bed and says, can you remember you told me that I will die from a spider? And she drops that spider on the floor and she squashes this spider with her foot. So what happens at that time is that some droplets that the spider had, which had poison, that dropped and fell on her foot, her nail, and her foot and her nails got infected by that poison. And this was the cause of her dying. This lady died. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that aynama takunu yudrikkumul maut. That wherever you may be, look at the husband. He specially built a strong fortress to save his wife. That there is no cobweb, nothing, spider, nothing. Suddenly there is a spider there. The spider, his own wife squashes it with her own foot. And still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you may in the most toughest and the strongest building, fortress, still death will catch you. You cannot run away from death. Ain al-mafar, our Ustad used to say, Ain al-mafar, where are you going to run? La mafar, there is no escape from that. So, the Mufassirun, they write about Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Khalid bin Walid radiallahu ta'ala anhu. The great soldier, the commander in the history of Islam. He fought many battles. he was known as the Saifullah, the sword of Allah. His sword, he would fight and fight in tough, fierce battles, severe battles. And he would always desire that, oh Allah, he would kill thousands. And his desire would be that, oh Allah, I want to die as a hero in the battlefield. I want to become a martyr. He used to fight. Well, still. And he used to say that I do not want to die like a lady on my bed in my house. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make him a martyr in the battlefield. He passed away in his bed. Even though he was in the battlefield. And you see the other story which I just mentioned, which is mentioned in the tafsir, it's not a fairy tale. It is mentioned in Ibn Kathir. Tafsir Ibn Kathir, one of the biggest and one of the best collection in tafsir. Ibn Kathir, he writes that even though she was in a very strong fortress, still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can cause and make you die in many different ways. From a small spider. This is why before that verse actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about fighting in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That don't run away. If Allah wants you to die, Allah can take your life, take your soul, even though you may be in the most strongest fortress, your strongest tower and building and property which you make to safeguard yourself. Well, however, there is no safeguarding, or you cannot secure yourself and safeguard yourself from death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us many other things in this surah. So this was today's verse which I mentioned, verse number 78 of Surah An-Nisa. Today's hadith, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا جاء رمضان فتحت أبواب الجنة وغلقت أبواب النار وصفدت الشياطين. رواه مسلم. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates this hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِذَا جَاءَ Ramadan, when the month of Ramadan comes, فُتِيَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ, the doors of Jannat are open. وَغُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابُ النَّارِ, and the doors of Jahannam are closed. And وَصُفِّدَتِ الشَّيَاطِينَ, and the devils, the shayateen are chained. This is why we see many times when we feel like coming to the masjid more frequently, when we feel like that we want to do more ibadat. Why? The muhaddithun, they write that its cool breeze reaches the hearts of the believers. The gates of Jannah are open, its cool breeze reaches the hearts of the believers and urges them to increase their devotion. So this is one of the reasons that during the month of Ramadan we see that we tend to be more, we want to be more pious, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chains the shayateen. However, even in the month of Ramadan, those who commit sins and they commit any sins in such a way that they don't stop themselves, is because of them committing sins the whole year. And it's that pressure that they still continue to do sins and commit sins in this holy month of Ramadan. One mas'ala is about semen, that a person, about mani, nutfa, that comes out from a person's body. I mentioned about vomiting yesterday, and there is another mas'ala that, as I mentioned previously, that when a person, fasting is when a person stops from eating, drinking and sexual intercourse. So if a person's semen comes out, whether if it's from intercourse, whether it's due to na'uzubillah masturbation, or whether it is by just kissing your wife, hugging your wife, and it comes out, then straight away your fast will break. Your fast will break. You will have to do qada for that. Now, for example, we have if a person has a wet dream, he has ihtilam. In Arabic it's called ihtilam. He was sleeping and he had a wet dream. His semen, nutfa, mani came out. Then what is the state of his fasting? So if this person was sleeping, unintentionally he had a wet dream, his fast does not break. It does not affect your fast. Even though he was sleeping during the day and something happened. Or he was sleeping at Sahari time he missed his fajr and he woke up in the state of ihtilam, then this does not invalidate it does not break his fast. He can continue, he does his ghusl and continue with his fast. So there is a difference between someone having sex with their partner and spouse and then it coming out, then it will be, you will break your fast, you will have to do qadha of it. And if someone does intentionally after keeping a fast and they break it, then there is a tough penalty for that. However, if someone has a wet dream and this fluid comes out, then his fast will not break. Wallahu alam bis-sawab. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وسلم تسليما اللهم لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله نسألك الخير كله ونعوذ بك من الشر كله ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب بفضل سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين